Alright, hello everyone. So Takeover Dallas just finished. It is WrestleMania season. WrestleMania weekend now. Hold on, give me a second. And I just wanted to talk quickly, give my impressions on Takeover Dallas. Excuse me. The tag team match was great. I really liked it. I really enjoyed the double German suplex spots. That's a spot that happened in Holy Demon Army versus Misawa Kobashi. Back in the 90s, they did that same spot. So it was nice to see that spot again. They actually did it better tonight. It was more synchronized. It looked beautiful. Great spot. However, I can't have a match that had a Botchamania chant be more than 4 stars. They went for like a power bomb into a clothesline thing, and I'm unsure what happened. If there was a mix-up or if he just wasn't strong enough to pick up Gable, but he wasn't able to do it. Maybe he was tired. I think that was Dash, but I'm not too positive. I really love their heel antics. I thought they did great jobs being a heel. Dash and Dawson did a great job, but that botch, and I think there was a few others in the match where I was like, so overall I gave it a 3.5, and I think I'm being nice. I think it's probably like a 3, but there was some really good spots though. Like there was a few miscues here and there, but overall it was a really good match. It wasn't your basic one guy works over this person and then hot tag, finish. It's over. Um, there was a good back and forth. I don't think they had much time. I think it would have been much better if they had more time, but that obviously isn't the wrestler's call. That isn't their fault. But American Alpha won. As a Chicagoan, I'm very proud of Jason Jordan. Good work. Good match. Very entertaining. But I got to give it about a 3.5. Aries versus Corbin. I'm not going to lie to you. I missed like maybe the first 2 minutes of it because I was resetting my network. My network was giving me problems, so I reset it. I gave it a 2.75. Again, I didn't watch it completely. Excuse me. So I did miss some of the build, but by the end of it, it felt like a 2.75. Aries didn't really hit any of his big moves, and it ended with spoilers, obviously. It ended with a quick roll up, and Aries got the win, which means I was wrong about that one. And I believe I was wrong about American Alpha as well. But I'm very glad that they won the championship. That's a good look for Chicago. Good look for Jordan. Good look for Gable. Both of those guys deserve it. They've been working really hard, and they've come into their own. They really learned how to work as a tag team and how to be very entertaining. They're really good. Aries wins. I don't think that match got more than 15. I gave it a 2.75. Nakamura versus Zayn was every bit as good as I thought it would be. And this is one of those things where, like, if I could be 100 with y'all, when I think about Nakamura versus Zayn, I can't help but compare it to Nakamura versus AJ from earlier this year, Nakamura versus Tanahashi, and great matches from this year like Ishii versus Shibata, Tanahashi versus Okada, and things of that sort. You know what I mean? So while I do believe Nakamura has been more hard-hitting bouts, I believe AJ hit Nakamura with a knee that was out of this world. I believe Nakamura versus Kota Ibushi was better than Nakamura versus Zayn, but the crowd for Nakamura versus Zayn was out of this world. That made the match special, and Zayn himself did some amazing spots in that match, which made the match very special. I have to give it a 5 stars. It was the perfect match. It's a match that I'll probably remember for the rest of my life. The fight forever chants by the fans. Bravo, bravo, Dallas. Great chant. Really added to it. Really made it feel like something that was special. That was once in a lifetime kind of deal. So yeah, Nakamura versus Zayn, 5 stars. Every bit as good as I expected it to be. I'm surprised Zayn didn't do the kick up. No, I think that may have been. Forget it. I was thinking about Kota Ibushi. I wanted a kip up into like a kick spot, but that's Kota Ibushi, not Zayn. Fucking, that was dumb of me. But yeah, Kota Ibushi's awesome as well. He was in the crowd like, oh shit, I marked out. Um, Hopefully he's in the cruiserweight series or the junior series or whatever the fuck. Or if he comes to NXT, that'd be even better because NXT is just Like it's so stacked right now that it's mind blowing. With the talent that they have. Um, Really amazing stuff. Like Nakamura versus Zayn was really good. I don't think there was any miscues. There was no botches. There was one spot after, but I'm being really, really pretentious in calling this out and being really like I'm looking way too into it. You know what I mean? Like I'm judging way too hard, and I know that I'm a prick for saying this, but after Nakamura hit his knee off the second rope, he kind of landed awkwardly after it, like he rode Zayn down. It looked kind of weird. That's all. Normally he does that and it looks a little smoother, but it's still a 5-star match. It's still a classic. That's very nitpicky, very small thing that I kind of noticed, but it's not a big deal. The knee still landed flush. I had to watch the replay to really see it because it was so quick that I didn't catch it at first. But when I caught it, I was like, yeah, it landed flush. It looked good. Um, 5 stars, just an amazing, amazing match. Asuka versus Bailey is the opposite effect of what Nakamura versus Zayn was. Like I said, Nakamura versus Zayn, I think that if it would have been in Japan, it probably would have been a 4.75 because it wasn't as hard hitting. But since it was here in America, in Dallas, the fans were really into it and they were able to elevate it into a 5 star. Asuka versus Bailey was really good, and if the fans were a little more into it, if they were a little more respectful of both competitors from beginning to end, I think it could have gotten a higher rating. Um, I don't think I saw any botches in this one as well. I don't think I saw any miscues. If I did see one, they hit it well. Um, I feel it could have gone a little bit smoother, but it was still pretty smooth. Everything was pretty nice. It was crisp enough. You know what I mean? It wasn't completely crisp, but it was nice. It felt good. If the crowd was into it a little better, like I feel the beginning with the hey Bailey and all that stuff, which I love that stuff. It's not like I don't love that stuff. I love that stuff. I'm marked to it as well. But putting over Bailey as such a super baby face in the match when it's technically two baby faces is confusing because like at the end people were booing Asuka and it's like there's no reason for that. She's not a heel. You know what I mean? Um, so like it feels as though what they were trying to get across in the match was lost on the fans, and that's just because Bailey is such a super face. Like everybody loves Bailey, and how could you not? Like I understand that, but the story that they were trying to tell of it being two forces going at each other and there being respect and things of that sort was completely lost by the end of the match. And I feel that that was the fans just gravitating towards Bailey way too much when they could have also showed some love and respect for Asuka. Um, Near the half or about the maybe 75% of the match, 3/4 of the match in, they started chanting both these girls, which I thought was nice. But like I said, by the end when Asuka won, you heard boos and stuff like that, and it was just like, come on, this match did not deserve that. Any other night, and that match would have been the match of the night. You know what I mean? So I gave it a 4.5. I thought it was really good. Like I said, there was no miscues. There was nothing that made it look fake. Everything about it looked good. Um, so yeah, I gave it a 4.5. I don't see why everybody's bitching about it. I like that the chicken wing was applied really, really nice, and Bailey tried to get out of it a couple times, and that was a really nice spot. It really fit her character, and it really fit Asuka's character as well. I loved Asuka getting thrown into the ropes and doing the rebound missile dropkick. Beautiful. I loved her that suplex Tiger Mask used to do. I don't know what you call it, but it's like a front face lock, and then you grip the arm and you go back like a curve. No, it's not a cravat suplex. No, I don't know what you call it, but it's a really nice looking suplex. It's still in Tiger Mask. Front neck chancery suplex, I guess you could call it. I don't know, but anyway, it's a really nice move, and I really enjoyed it. I popped for it. I thought it was really good. So overall, I gave it a 4.5. Like I said, any other card and this match would have stolen the night. Any other crowd, and it probably would have been a 4.75. But the crowd was probably really tired from Nakamura saying, and I don't blame them at all. The show was really good, so I'm surprised they weren't, like gassed by that point. I'm happy that they still had some life in them. Joe Balor, Joe got opened up early. He was bleeding ugly from his eye. It looked like in the beginning seconds of the match, it legit looked like Joe was crying blood, which I thought was just a beautiful, beautiful um, image, I guess, like an imagery of like when you know Joe's history and when you know who he's fought and when you know the kind of battles he's had, for him to look as though he's crying blood is just absolutely fantastic. Like I marked, oh man, like it that was a classic match. It really was. I feel like it was a 5-star match. It's upsetting that WWE went in there and slowed it down constantly because they kept checking on Joe's blood and getting rid of it and blah blah blah. But like, if Joe could have bled that entire match, we'd all be saying that it was a classic and it was deserved to be the main event and blah blah blah. It was very well acted. When Balor got up after eating the muscle buster and he yelled at Joe, perfect. The way Joe sold Balor kicking out of the muscle buster, perfect. Just really well done. The only issue I have with it, and the only issue I think most would have with it, is that the refs, not the refs, the doctors, I guess, I don't know, the dudes kept coming in and cleaning Joe's face. Like I said, the imagery of Joe, it looked like Joe was crying. And when you know who Joe has faced, and when you know that Joe has been in some really amazing, stiff, brutal matches, and you think about the history of like 90s AJPW, who Joe pretty much developed his moveset around, and his style, and his look and everything about it, and you see that image of Joe crying blood, it's beautiful in a fucked up sick way. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to say it. But Joe's one of those guys, like legit, for I get a hardcore mark like me, that he like embodies that 90s era, in an era when you're not supposed to embody it, and for the right reasons. You know what I mean? When you think about what happened to Masao, rest in peace, and what happened to a lot of the workers in that era, WWE and wrestling in general shouldn't really be pushing for that kind of stuff. So I understand why they would try to get rid of the blood and why they would try not to work those kind of matches. Like, I get it, and I think that's right. But with that said, the imagery of Joe crying blood was beautiful. Like, it was beautiful. Like, there's nothing else I can say about it. It was beautiful. It was a great homage, so to speak. Now I could be reading that wrong. I could be fucking bullshitting a bunch of stuff that doesn't deserve to be in the match. Um, it could just be that Joe went for a knee and fucked up and cut himself. Whatever. All I'm saying is that when I saw Joe bleeding from the eye, I immediately got that imagery of the legends that he's fought, Kobashi and Masawa, and how his move set is like to mimic those guys and the Holy Demon Army and Toshiaki Kawada and Akira Taue. And I thought about that stuff and how he fought Kurt Angle and all that stuff, you know what I mean, and how Hayabusa just passed, and and with that imagery of him crying blood, it was beautiful. I have to rate it a 5-star. I don't see how anybody would think less. It does suck that WWE kept in trying to wipe off the blood, but personally, that's a 5-star. Yeah, I have it as 4.5 here because some of the guys on Reddit were like, that wasn't a 5-star. But the more I talk about it, the more it feels like a 5-star to me. So I'm going to say Joe versus Balor was a 5-star. Balor won after the top rope coup de grace, I believe. No, actually, Joe went for the coquina clutch, the rear naked chokehold. And Balor did a Bret Hart. Yeah, Balor did a Bret Hart versus Austin from No, what match was that? SummerSlam maybe? I don't know, but Balor pulled the Bret Hart versus Austin where he climbed the ropes, flipped him over, and pinned Joe. I marked when Joe got the coquina clutch because nobody's ever really kicked out of the coquina clutch. Even Kobashi was afraid of it. And again, I'm a Joe mark. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know that by now, I'm a Joe mark. So the coquina clutch is like a move that's very well respected, and Balor respected it as well because Joe wasn't able to sit down with it, lay down with it, and really get it in right. But when he had it applied there, I felt like a child. I was like, oh my God, Joe's going to win the title. So they did their job. They made me forget that it was fake for a little bit. Personally, 5 stars, but I'm a Joe mark. So yeah, that's my rating of Takeover Dallas. It was a great show. Now tomorrow for the Hall of Fame, and then the day after that is WrestleMania. Holy shit, what a weekend. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed my review. Y'all have a great night. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to watch Nakamura Zayn and Joe Balor one more time before victory. Peace.